Have you ever wondered which one hurts more? The person you love secretly holding someone else's hand, or sending intimate photos to another person? And even worse, why do some people believe that emotional betrayal can cut deeper than a physical affair? If those questions make your heart tighten for a moment, you are definitely not alone. The truth is, it is these gray areas, the actions that do not clearly fall into right or wrong, that can quietly destroy a relationship, especially when it comes to infidelity. I am Dr. Titan Gray, a specialist in urology and pelvic floor surgery, and today we are going to break down sexual, emotional, and physical behaviors to understand what truly counts as cheating.
Why is this topic so important? Imagine one day you discover that your partner has done something you clearly see as a betrayal, while they think it is nothing serious. This mismatch in defining what counts as cheating can slowly erode a relationship, especially when both people have never set clear boundaries. Having sexual intercourse with someone else? Almost everyone agrees that is an act of betrayal. But what about the more ambiguous situations, such as holding hands, sharing private conversations, or having an intimate dinner with someone of the opposite sex? These are the moments that often spark the fiercest arguments. Working with many men, I have seen countless relationships stumble simply because the couple never talked openly about these boundaries. Now let us turn to science, where debates about what counts as cheating are broken down more clearly. A research group decided to search for an answer by conducting a direct survey. They invited 456 college students to participate, with about 2/3 being female and the average age around 19, and asked them to rate how much certain situations counted as cheating within the context of a serious relationship. The researchers created a list of 27 behaviors divided into several categories. The sexual category, such as having intercourse or engaging in oral sex. The erotic category, such as sending flirty messages, sending intimate photos, or watching adult content with someone else. The relationship status category, such as holding hands, hugging in a close or affectionate way, or kissing. The emotional bond category, which involves building deep intimacy, sharing secrets, or opening up in ways that should be reserved for one's partner. The financial support category, such as giving someone a few dollars to help them out. And the social interaction category, which includes social hugs, traveling together, or spending private time alone.
Each participant had to evaluate every behavior on a scale from 0 to 100%. 0 meant I do not consider this cheating at all, while 100% meant yes, this is definitely a betrayal, when that behavior involved someone of the opposite sex outside their relationship. What makes this study truly compelling is that the researchers did not simply ask which behaviors count as cheating, but also examined 2 personality patterns that play a major role in romantic relationships: attachment anxiety and attachment avoidance. People with attachment anxiety often live with a constant fear of being abandoned, worrying that their partner could leave them at any moment. In contrast, those with attachment avoidance tend to build emotional walls, keep their distance, and shy away from deep intimacy. In this study, the researchers used reliable psychological scales to identify where each participant fell on the spectrum of anxiety or avoidance. Then, they analyzed how gender and attachment style influenced the way participants judged which behaviors counted as betrayal.
And here is the part of the results that made me laugh because there were just so many interesting surprises. The most obvious finding was that direct sexual behaviors such as intercourse, oral sex, or even showering together were considered cheating by 96 to 98% of participants. It was almost absolute, leaving little room for debate. But the attention-grabbing part came from the sexual but no physical contact behaviors. Flirty texting, sexting, or sending nude photos were still seen as acts of betrayal by many people, but not unanimously, scoring only around 75 to 88%. This highlights a very clear divide in how individuals interpret modern infidelity. And this is where many people would raise their eyebrows. Women were the group who rated sexual and erotic behaviors as cheating more strongly than men. This completely contradicts the common belief that women are mainly hurt by emotional betrayal, while men are the ones who react more intensely to sexual betrayal, according to evolutionary theory. Not only that, women also gave higher cheating scores for 10 other behaviors, from sexting, sending explicit photos, and watching adult content with someone else, to seemingly harmless actions such as holding hands or forming an overly intimate emotional bond. And the funniest part? The only behavior that men rated as cheating more strongly than women was giving someone $5. That is right. Just $5, yet men saw it as a bigger red flag than women did. It may sound trivial, but it highlights something important. Men and women view betrayal through completely different lenses. The story takes an even more interesting turn when attachment styles are considered. People with attachment anxiety, those who constantly fear being abandoned, rated 18 out of 27 behaviors as acts of betrayal. They live in a state of heightened alertness, so anything that feels even slightly out of the ordinary is perceived as a threat. Meanwhile, people with attachment avoidance, those who prefer emotional distance, viewed sexual and erotic behaviors as less serious. This may be because they themselves are more likely to engage in such behaviors, since they do not feel deeply attached enough to see those actions as crossing a boundary. The study also revealed something else. The intensity of a behavior directly influences whether people consider it cheating. Here are some clear examples. Kissing on the lips is naturally more intense than kissing on the cheek. Giving someone $500 is viewed as crossing a boundary much more than giving $5. Hugging for more than 10 seconds carries a far more intimate tone than a brief social hug. Sharing the same bed clearly goes far beyond simply staying in the same hotel. The researchers called this phenomenon the signal intensity effect, meaning the stronger the romantic or sexual signal, the more quickly the human mind labels it as cheating. When all the data was consolidated, the researchers identified three very clear groups of behaviors. The sexual and erotic, rated as cheating at 93%. From intercourse and oral sex to sexting and sending intimate photos, almost everyone agreed these behaviors were acts of betrayal. Both men and women gave very high scores, with only slight differences between them. The intimate closeness group rated as cheating at 42%. This included holding hands, having a private dinner together, sharing secrets, or giving each other money. This is the true gray zone, the one where couples argue the most. People with attachment anxiety saw these behaviors as major red flags, while those with a secure attachment style viewed them as normal social interactions. The social interaction group rated as cheating at only 11%. Short social hugs, lighthearted conversations, or phone calls for work were actions that most people did not consider betrayal. So what does all of this mean for you? The most important message is this: do not stay silent. Talk clearly with each other about boundaries. You cannot assume that your partner sees everything the same way you do. One behavior might be considered betrayal by only 9% of people, while another is seen as cheating by 98%. That range is far too wide for you to rely on guesswork. What you consider harmless might be something that deeply hurts your partner. The second important point is to understand your own attachment style and your partner's attachment style. If you often feel uneasy when your partner talks to friends of the opposite sex, that does not automatically mean you are being controlling. Sometimes it is simply a sign of attachment anxiety. And once you recognize that, being honest about it can prevent many misunderstandings. The third point is to pay attention to signal intensity. Not every situation carries the same weight. A work-related dinner is completely different from a candlelit evening together. A quick light hug is nowhere near the same as a long, lingering embrace. Sometimes the context and the level of intimacy just emotional cheating, as people often assume. However, it is important to remember that this survey was conducted on American college students around 19 years old. If the research were done with married adults, older individuals, or people from different cultures, the results might change. But the most important message remains the same. Cheating is not a simple black and white line. It exists on a wide spectrum, and where you place your boundary depends on your gender, your attachment style, your experiences, and your relationship history. What you consider a small thing may feel threatening to your partner. No one is right, and no one is wrong. It simply means two people are using two different internal reference systems. That is why the best solution is to sit down and talk things through clearly. You can even look at the 27 behaviors from the study together and mark which ones are red flags for each of you. And if you truly want to understand more about your body, intimacy, connection, and overall health, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Here you will find everything you need to build a healthy relationship and a fulfilling intimate life. As always, remember to take care of yourself. You absolutely deserve